Chapter 16 The Mock Turtle. The Queen, quite out of breath, then walked over to Alice and said, "Have you seen the Mock Turtle yet?" "No," said Alice. "I don't even know what a Mock Turtle is." "It's the thing that Mock Turtle soup is made from," said the Queen. "I never saw one, or heard of one," said Alice. "Come on, then," said the Queen. "He shall tell you his story." As they walked off together, Alice heard the King say in a low voice to the gathered company, "You are all pardoned." "Well, that's a relief," Alice said to herself, for she had been unhappy about the number of executions the Queen had ordered. She and the Queen soon came upon an odd-looking beast that looked very much like a dragon. It was lying fast asleep in the sun. "That's a griffin," said the Queen to Alice, who looked curiously at the creature. "Up, you lazy thing," said the Queen. "Take this young lady to see the Mock Turtle and hear his story. I must go back and see to some executions I've ordered." She walked off, leaving Alice alone with the griffin. Alice did not like the look of the creature, but thought it would be as safe to stay with the griffin as it would be to stay with that savage Queen. The griffin sat up and rubbed its eyes. It watched the Queen until she was out of sight, and then chuckled. "What fun!" it said to Alice, with a devilish grin. "What is the fun?" Alice asked. "She is," the griffin replied. "The Queen. It's all her imagination, you know, ordering people's heads off. They never really execute anyone. Come on." "Everybody says come on here," thought Alice as she walked after the creature. "I've never been so ordered around in all my life." They had not gone far before they saw the Mock Turtle, who looked extremely odd. He had the head and tail of a cow and the back legs of a goat. He also had a shell and flippers like a turtle. He was indeed an odd sight. He was sitting sadly and lonely on a little ledge of rock. As they came nearer, Alice could hear him sighing as if his heart would break. She pitied him deeply. "What is his sorrow?" she asked the griffin. "He hasn't any sorrow," was the reply. "It's all in his imagination, you know." They went up to the Mock Turtle, who looked at them silently with large eyes full of tears. "This young lady here," said the griffin, "wants to hear your story." "I'll tell it to her," the Mock Turtle replied in a deep, hollow tone. "Sit down, both of you, and don't speak a word till I've finished." They both did as they were told, and the three sat in silence for some time. "I don't see how he can even finish if he doesn't begin," Alice thought. At last the Mock Turtle began. "Once," he said, with a deep sigh, "I was a real turtle. When we were little, we went to school in the sea. The master was an old turtle. We used to call him Tortoise." "Why did you call him Tortoise?" Alice asked, "if he wasn't one?" "We called him Tortoise because he taught us," said the Mock Turtle angrily. "Really? You are very dim." "You ought to be ashamed of yourself for asking such a simple question," added the griffin. Then both creatures sat silently and looked at poor Alice for such a long time that she felt ready to sink into the earth. At last the griffin said to the Mock Turtle, "Drive on, old fellow. Don't be all day about it." "All right," he continued. "We went to school in the sea, though you may not believe it." "I never said I didn't," cried Alice. "You did," said the Mock Turtle. "Hold your tongue," added the griffin, before Alice could speak again. The Mock Turtle went on. "We had the best education. In fact, we went to school every day." "So do I," said Alice. "You needn't be so proud of that." "With extra courses?" asked the Mock Turtle. "Yes," said Alice. "French and music." "And washing?" asked the Mock Turtle. "Certainly not," said Alice. "Ah, then yours is in a really good school," said the Mock Turtle in a tone of great relief. "Now at ours they had French, music, and washing." "I don't see what use washing would be," Alice said, "since you lived at the bottom of the ocean." "It was very helpful indeed. We also learned reeling, rithering, and arithmetic, including uglification." "Uglification!" exclaimed Alice. "What's that?" The griffin lifted its paws in surprise. "What? Never heard of uglifying? You know what to beautify is, I suppose." "Yes," said Alice doubtfully. "It means to make something prettier." "Well then," said the griffin, If you don't know what uglify is, you are dim. Tired of the insults, Alice decided to ignore the Griffin. Instead, she turned back to the Mock Turtle. What else did you learn? She asked. Well, there was mystery, the Mock Turtle replied, counting off the subjects on his flappers. Mystery, both ancient and modern, and geography. Then drawing. The drawing master was an old eel that used to come once a week. He taught us drawing, sketching, and painting in coins. Alice had heard of drawing, sketching, and painting in oils, but obviously these were something different. Her head was spinning with confusion, but she went along with the Mock Turtle story just the same. How many hours a day did you do these lessons? She asked. 10 hours the first day, said the Mock Turtle, 9 the next, and so on. What a curious plan, said Alice. That's why they're called lessons, said the Griffin, because they lesson from day to day. This was a new idea to Alice. She thought it over for a moment, then said, Then the 11th day must have been a holiday? Of course it was, said the Mock Turtle. Perhaps you're not so dim after all. Alice was about to ask what happened on the 12th day, when a loud cry was heard from the distance. The trial is beginning, shouted a faraway voice. Come on, cried the Griffin. It grabbed Alice by the hand, and they hurried off, leaving the Mock Turtle behind. What trial? Alice panted as she ran, but the Griffin only said, Come on, and ran faster, pulling Alice along so swiftly that her feet barely touched the ground.